From 50-point explosions to a player being fined over $800,000. This is everything you missed in week 3 of the NBA season. Giannis had an effective 54 points versus the Indiana Pacers, which included 26 first half points. However, the Pacers could not miss from the field. Malik Beasley was huge for Milwaukee, scoring 11 points in only 6 minutes in the fourth quarter. Mathurin was huge for Indiana, grabbing offensive rebounds and ending with 22 points on 50% shooting. During the Suns-Lakers in-season tournament game, LeBron James goes down with a lower leg injury that looked really bad. He came back into the game and had 19 points at the half as he played through pain all night long. The Lakers made a critical adjustment to bring Austin Reaves off the bench, and this decision appeared to pay off, as he looked much more comfortable as the Lakers picked up a 119-122 victory over Phoenix. Kevin Durant had a great game in his own right, ending with 38 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists while shooting 48% from the field. Luka Doncic goes off against the Clippers, finishing with 44, 6, and 6, as the Clippers are yet to win a game since the trade for James Harden. Kyrie Irving gave the Mavericks 29, 6, and 3 on 42% shooting. Harden and Kawhi led the way with solid outings, but the Clippers would still lose. The Dallas Mavericks have been way better than expected, and they have a real chance to be the best offense in the league. Even with Kyrie out of the lineup, this team doesn't seem to be phased, as Luka is currently averaging over 30 points a game with 7 rebounds and 8 assists. The Spurs-Timberwolves in-season tournament game was electric throughout. Victor Wembanyama had a great game, putting up 29, 9, and 4. However, it was Anthony Edwards who ended the game with 28, 7, and 5 that lifted Minnesota over San Antonio. The Bucks' perimeter and transition defense is absolutely terrible, and they may need to make a trade at the deadline or sooner to bring in a defensive stopper for the postseason run. Coming into the season, coach Adrian Griffin said that Malik Beasley would be their defensive stopper, and so far Beasley has not done that at all, as he's not an elite defender, and this idea was probably never going to work. LaMelo Ball is absolutely bowling out right now, as he had 32, 7, and 6 on the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. However, it was the Knicks that won that night, as Randall shot 50% from the field for 23 points, a welcome sign for Knicks fans. The Milwaukee Bucks drop a game to the Orlando Magic as Damian Lillard sat out 2 games due to a calf injury. Giannis is averaging 32 points a game in Bucks losses, and in their wins, he's only averaging 25 points per game. Do with this stat as you will, but I believe the Bucks need to put the ball in Damian Lillard's hands more often. Cleveland were able to beat Golden State in both regular season matchups, and in the second game, Donovan Mitchell baited Draymond Green into being ejected. The problem with Cleveland early in the season is that they appeared to be a Donovan Mitchell show as no one else was stepping up. Now with Darius Garland and Jared Allen back into the lineup, they look much better. The Warriors have done the exact opposite. They are so dependent on Stephen Curry's greatness, as only one player has scored more than 20 points in a game other than Curry, and that was the rookie Brandon Podziemski. The Lakers pick up their first win of the season without LeBron James. However, it wasn't a very impressive win, as they just managed to scrape by the worst team in the league, as Portland made it a close game, only losing by 6 points in the end. Robert Williams undergoes a knee surgery which ended his season. However, Portland may have found their new backup center, as an Australian prospect called Duop Reef balled out, ending with 11 points in only 13 minutes of play. Even with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal in the lineup, the Suns somehow lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder. J-Dub and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander combined for 65 points each, as Phoenix have some early questions to answer. The Dallas Mavericks may be the real deal, as Kyrie and Luka combined for 65 points as they crushed the Pelicans 136-124. Boston-New York games are always great to watch, and it didn't disappoint again. At home, the Celtics were too good for the short-handed Knicks, who missed RJ Barrett. Jason Tatum finished with 35, 6, and 7, while Porzingis and Brown both had at least 20 points. The Washington Wizards may need to be relocated to the European leagues. They are the absolute laughingstock of the NBA right now, as late in the game versus Toronto, Kyle Kuzma wanted his coach to review a play. However, there was only one problem with this, as Toronto had the ball in hand. Kyle Kuzma, being Kyle Kuzma, absolutely did not notice that this was happening, which led to Toronto getting the easiest bucket of their lives down the stretch. Tyrese Maxey is better than James Harden, and it's not a debate now. Maxey dropped 50 points versus the Pacers, where Embiid also had 37 points. This pairing is the highest scoring duo in the NBA, and it's not hard to see why of nights like this. The Minnesota Timberwolves have the best defense in the NBA, as they beat the Warriors on their home court. The Timberwolves were able to get the W thanks to Anthony Edwards dropping 33 points on 41% shooting, and Cat's 21, 14, and 3. Last season, the minutes with Cat and Rudy on the floor at the same time looked very ugly, but this season, they've actually been a positive. The thing that makes the Timberwolves so good is they can stagger their minutes. Being able to play them together or have an all-star center on the court at all times is absolutely elite. With Anthony Edwards stepping into the role of the number 1 option over Karl Anthony Towns, the Timberwolves have dominated the NBA so far this season, as the West just got a whole lot more difficult for teams like the Lakers, Suns, and Nuggets. The Clippers-Nuggets game went down to the wire during the in-season tournament. With the Clippers down 3 late, they call a timeout and they draw up a play that was questionable at best. The play ends with Paul George shooting a highly contested 3-point jumper, which was a wedgie, as the Clippers fall to the Nuggets, losing their 6th consecutive game. James Harden actually looks solid in the game. However, it's not about how good he plays, it's about the fact that he's taking shots away from Kawhi and Paul George. A new NBA rivalry has been born as the Warriors and the Timberwolves played on back-to-back nights. Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and Jaden McDaniels were all ejected within 2 minutes of the ball game. Rudy Gobert appeared to be trying to break up the fight, however he was caught in the crossfire as Draymond Green put him in a chokehold. The NBA has suspended Draymond Green for 5 games and he was also fined a whopping $800,000. The Lakers beat down the Memphis Grizzlies led by AD's 6 blocks and D'Lo's 24 points on 66% shooting. In the game, the Lakers tied a franchise record as the team made 22 3-point makes, shooting them at a 62% clip. If the Lakers can just do half of this every night, they could be the best team in the league. Tyrese Haliburton becomes the first player in NBA history to have consecutive games of at least 25 points, 15 assists, and 0 turnovers. Tyrese Haliburton is balling like Magic Johnson right now, as he has a real argument to be a top 5 point guard in the league. In a shocking loss, the Nuggets fell to the Houston Rockets 107-104. Nikola Jokic became the first player to lose a game with a stat line of at least 30 points, 20 rebounds, 10 assists, and at least 1 3-point make. Anticipation was building for the Thunder versus Spurs game. The game was tight throughout the first quarter and the first half of the second quarter, but after that, Josh Giddey took over the game, dropping dimes and scoring points, as the Thunder went on to blow out the Spurs 87-123. Both Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama couldn't even make double digits, finishing with 8 and 9 respectively. The Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis headed north to take on the Toronto Raptors, who had recently blown them out only 2 weeks prior. However, Damian Lillard was not going to let Milwaukee lose this game, ending the night with 37 points, 13 assists, and 2 steals, shooting 50% from the field. The surprising performer for Milwaukee was Malik Beasley, who put up 30 points, shooting 78%, as he's proving himself to be one of the best free agency signings for this season. The Philadelphia 76ers and the Boston Celtics met again. Coming into the game, both sides had a record of 8 and 2, as this battle was going to decide the first seed of the Eastern Conference. However, the 76ers were met with absolutely shocking news as Kelly Oubre was hit by a car earlier in the week, as he's going to be out for an extended period of time due to his injuries. For Boston, it was Derek White's 27 points on 58% shooting and Jason Tatum's 29, 8, and 6 that proved to be too good for Philly. Embiid and Maxey didn't score the ball at their usual numbers, both ending with only 20 points. The Orlando Magic traveled to Chicago as they had a lead late, but they choked it away due to bad decisions and missed free throws. Zach LaVine hit huge threes down the stretch of the game to knot it at 94. Joe Ingles found Banchero in the post against Alex Caruso. How this matchup appeared was beyond me, as Paolo did the rest as he backed him down and hit the game winner with only 1.4 seconds left. Banchero ended the game with 17, 9, and 3, shooting 33% from the field. As the percentages were down, but he hit the biggest shot of the night, so what else can you really say? The Sacramento Kings came into LA and put 72 points on the Lakers in the first half, as Fox and Sabonis dominated while AD only had 4 points by half, shooting 1 of 6 from the field. While LeBron was on the floor, the Lakers looked good and they made runs to get back into the game, but every time Sacramento had an answer. Even after a monster triple-double performance from LeBron James, it still wasn't enough as Sacramento repelled a late charge from the Lakers and won 125-110. Devin Booker was back in the lineup and it was just in time as the Minnesota Timberwolves were in town. However, we are still yet to see the big three in action as Bill sat out with back spasms. Devin Booker and Kevin Durant combined for 62 points as KD shot a ridiculous 73% from the field. For Minnesota though, Anthony Edwards only managed to put up 13 points in 30 minutes of action as he shot a bad 25% from the field as he clearly looked gassed from the night before, as the Phoenix Suns were able to pick up a 133-115 victory. My power rankings for the NBA season are shocking to look at, but they are true. The top 5 best teams in the NBA right now are the Dallas Mavericks at 5. The pairing with Luka and Kyrie are making them such a dangerous team. Role players like Grant Williams and the rookie Derek Lively have contributed valuable minutes to this team as they are way better than we ever expected. In at number 4, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves as their defense is elite, being number 1 in pretty much every statistical category while being more than sound on offense as well. Number 3 is the Philadelphia 76ers as they are way better without James Harden on the team as nobody expected them to be this good. Embiid and Maxey are the best duo in basketball as they dominate on the offensive side of the ball pretty much every night. The Denver Nuggets find themselves at number 2. Nikola Jokic appears to be even more unstoppable than he was last season. He's hitting long-range shots and dominating the paint while his playmaking is still otherworldly. And the best team in the NBA right now is the Boston Celtics. Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis have appeared to be seamless fits, and Jason Tatum could very well be the MVP this season. The Boston Celtics should finish as the number 1 seed in the East in my opinion, which will give Jason Tatum a perfect opportunity to win the award. So who do you think is the best team in the NBA right now? And if you really liked the video, you can now become a member of the channel.